If you like chocolate, vanilla, and classic desserts, you've got to make my Boston cream pie recipe. It's actually a cake. And if you like my videos, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. You're watching Preppy Kitchen, where I, John Cannell, teach you how to make delicious homemade dishes to share with your family and friends. This Boston cream pie will be ready in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. So let's get started. First off, we're gonna make a delicious pastry cream. It's one of my favorite things to eat, so I'm so excited for it. You're gonna wanna scald 2 cups or 480 milliliters of warm milk. Bring it onto a medium heat and keep an eye on it. You don't want it to boil. It's almost gonna boil. It's gonna get nice and hot. While that's warming, you're gonna wanna separate 6 eggs. We're just using the yolks today, so reserve the egg whites for something delicious like an angel food cake. My milk is bubbling up at the edge. I can hear it just starting to simmer, so remove from heat and set it aside to cool. To my 6 egg yolks, I'm adding 2/3 of a cup of granulated sugar, and we're gonna whisk that until it is a lighter color and it thickens up a bit. So you can do this with an electric mixer or by hand, it's totally up to you. Just a little bit of whisking later, it's lightened up, it's thick, and it's ready for our cornstarch. The cornstarch is really gonna hold our pastry cream together because you want it to have a little bit of structure so that your cake doesn't smush it all out of the side. It needs to hold that second layer of cake. I love this beautiful color from the egg yolks that just lightens up a bit with the whisking. Look at that. Oh, that's so beautiful. This is well combined. The next step is called tempering the mixture. So I'm gonna take about a 1/4 cup of my hot milk and drizzle it in while I whisk. The thing is that you don't want to have any scrambled eggs in here. Now that my mixture's been warmed up, I can add in the remaining milk. Also drizzle that in while you whisk. We have a nice soupy mixture with no curdled egg bits. That is the most important thing. This should have the most amazing texture. Now I'm gonna pour the mixture back through my strainer, just in case. I'm adding in about a tablespoon of vanilla bean paste. Vanilla bean paste has all those beautiful vanilla beans, a ton of flavor, and unlike vanilla extract, there's no alcohol in it. It's just the vanilla with some water and sugar. Now we're gonna take our pot over medium-high heat while whisking continuously and keep an eagle eye on it. So I'm using a French whisk in case you haven't noticed. Unlike a balloon whisk, it's narrow and you can really get the corner of the pot. Nothing's gonna burn. Start on the edge, to the center, and back out to the edge. Once your pastry cream is thickened, keep stirring it for a minute or 90 seconds. You want it to develop a little bit more structure so it can hold that second layer of cake. For the ultimate silky effect, we're adding 1 tablespoon of butter right into this hot custard and then stirring until it's dissolved. It really gives you a beautiful texture, just a little bit. Normally you would transfer this to a bowl and chill it, but I have a cheat for you. This is gonna make it so much easier. We're gonna put our cream into a cake pan the same size as the cake will be baking, and then we can just plop it out and place it on, and you'll find out why that's so important when this chills. Line your cake pan with plastic, and now we're gonna pour our custard into our lined cake pan. Give it a quick smooth, doesn't have to be perfect. Now we're gonna cover this with 1 more layer of plastic so it doesn't develop a skin, and place this into the fridge to cool while we make and bake our cake. In you go. While the pastry cream is chilling, it's time to make the cake, and this is a delicate vanilla cake, so I would advise cutting out a sheet of parchment paper into a round. You're gonna add a little baking spray or butter to the bottom of your pan to let it stick like glue, and then just hit the sides, and that's good. Set this aside. It's time to make the cake. For the cake, we're using 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. That's 140 grams or so. To that, we're gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder. People wonder, why is it called a Boston cream pie when it's a cake? Hundreds of years ago, when this cake was more popular, people didn't have multiple pans for baking in most kitchens. You'd have 1 pie pan for the most part that you'd use for quiches and desserts and whatnot. So they called cakes pies occasionally. That's why, Boston cream pie. I had to look that up, I didn't know. Whisk the ingredients together, and we're gonna set these aside and now get that stand mixer or electric hand mixer out. Before I start mixing this up, Before I start mixing this up, I want to tell you this cake uses the hot milk method. So we're going to be warming up half a cup of milk, 120 ml, along with 5 tablespoons of butter, which is cut into tablespoon-sized pieces. And that is 70 grams in case you're wondering. A couple bursts in the microwave should do it. You want it to be hot and steamy with the butter all melted. Now, with that being said, let's add in 2 eggs to our stand mixer, fitted with a whisk attachment. And these eggs are room temperature, that's always best for mixing. To this, we're adding 200 grams or 1 cup of granulated sugar. So we're gonna beat this on high for about 4 minutes until it's leaving a trail, it's thickened, and it's a light color. We'll see what that looks like in just a moment. Okay, my milk is nice and steamy, and this is really like a light off-white color, and it's leaving a trail, if you can see that. So I added in a little bit of the flour mixture, but don't forget the vanilla. We're gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla into our hot milk mixture. Stir that up, and now we're ready to go. Mixing on low. We're adding the flour mixture. Mix until just combined. Okay, it's combined. We're stirring in the hot milk mixture. Okay, so this is all mixed and ready to go. You can see it's a thicker batter, kind of like pancake mix. Use your spatula and just scrape the bowl down a few times. There might be a little bit of flour here or there that you want to get mixed in. And the smell is amazing. Ready to pour our batter into our prepared 8-inch pan. Here we go. We're gonna bake this cake for about 33 minutes exactly, or until the edge is just pulling away from the pan and a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. In you go. Okay, as soon as your cake is out of the oven, check it with a skewer. This was perfect, it's coming out clean. And then, if needed, run a knife along the edge. I want you to see the edge is pulling away from the pan. Okay, we're ready to invert this out and let it cool completely. Flip it over. Ooh, that's hot. That's a hot pan. Flip. And also remove the paper. This way the cake can cool without over steaming or having any weird stuff happen. We'll be back as soon as it is cool. In the meantime, let's make some ganache. I have 4 ounces of bittersweet chocolate, which I've chopped up, and I'm adding in a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. We're gonna pop this into the microwave and give it a couple 30-second blasts. It will get really hot and creamy fast, so don't overcook it. 30 seconds in the microwave is all we needed. Let's mix this up. It's coming together into a nice silky smooth and ready to pour. We're gonna set this aside to cool slightly while we cut our cake. I wish you could smell this. It's like the best vanilla marshmallow ever, if that makes sense. It's really nice. I'm placing this right onto a cake stand, but you can do this however you'd like. And now I'm gonna cut it in half. I put little holes that I could barely see in the side of this, and I'm using a sharp serrated knife. I was always jealous of the cake cutter my grandmother had. I don't have one. There we go. I gotta say, that is pretty impressive right in half. It's divine as well. Now for the pastry cream. If we had let this chill in a bowl, we'd have to re-whip it up and it would lose its texture. It'd become silky but a little bit gooey. So we actually, in this case, want it to be a perfect disc, just like that. I'm gonna remove the plastic and then just plop it right on. That, and like that, and like that. So happy with this solution, I can't even tell you. Now we're gonna place our top layer on and we're ready to add the ganache. Isn't that just amazing? I'm smiling ear to ear. Now we're gonna pour our chocolate ganache right on top, get it all out there, and you can decide, do you want it to drip? Do you want it to stay right on the top? It's totally up to you. So right now I'm gonna smooth this out with a little spatula, take it right to the edge. You can have a couple drips here and there. I love the contrast of the vanilla and the chocolate together. My cake is ready to cut, but it's gonna be so much cleaner if you just pop this into the fridge for a few minutes and let that chocolate ganache set. Once your ganache is set, it's time to cut the cake and act with confidence. If you like this recipe, don't forget to check out my vanilla playlist. Oh my gosh. chocolate vanilla perfection. I'll see you in the next video.